Remember in the last video when I told you all to remember that there's always 3 sides to every story, and that usually consists of person A, person B, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. Well, this story has at least 5, but you're only gonna get 1. What's going on, everybody? Deacon here, and I noticed on Thursday that I had a friend request from somebody from Brittany and I's past. But before I tell you whether I accepted or denied that friend request, let me give you a little bit of a backstory first. The person who sent the friend request, for the sake of this story, we're just gonna call Sue. Now, Sue is a friend of Brittany's family that they met many, many years ago when they used to live in Louisiana. I think Brittany was around the age of 5 or 6 when they met her. And how they met her was my mother-in-law is a registered nurse, and Sue was one of her nurse's aides. Now, Sue is around the same age as Brittany's sisters, who are 16 and 11 years older than Brittany, respectively. So she's in that age bracket. And the other thing with Sue is that she kind of had a rough upbringing, just a lot of things that went on, manipulation going on, some people taking advantage, just not the best of upbringing coming up. Now, the reason why I'm even bringing up Sue into this story is because the way my in-laws work is that no matter where they go, they always find somebody to where they kind of like quote unquote adopt into the family. So Sue became like the unofficial daughter, but because she didn't really have a really good family, she took them in as her family and feel really close and feel really tight to them. I mention all that without giving too much detail because it's going to be very important of what I'm going to be sharing with you all in this story. Let's fast forward to 2002. Sue and her daughter came up to Maryland from Louisiana to stay for the week. And it was interesting the first time I met them because I was going over to Brittany's house to, we were going to go out on a date. And when I come in the kitchen, which is right adjacent to the family room, Sue's daughter, who was probably about 9 or 10 at the time, was watching TV. And I heard Sue say to Brittany's middle sister that she said to her, I make sure that he doesn't go around my daughter and that he's not around my daughter. I don't want her, getting used to him or thinking it's okay to be close to him. Thinking to myself, like, where is this all coming from? And she said the same thing to Brittany, but when she saw Brittany was getting upset, she said it was because she doesn't want her to just think it's okay to be friendly with strangers because, like I told you, things that she went through, she was just calling this herself, protecting her daughter and not getting used to strange men. But I'm thinking to myself, well, but I've been around this family now for a year, and this is almost on the cusp of us starting to tell people that we wanted to get married. So it's like, I might be around for a while, so I wouldn't be considered a strange man. But I let that slide because, like I said, I took into account when I found out about a little bit about her background, her history, and what happened to her. I was thinking, okay, so I'll let that one slide. Now, I don't know if this was the next day or a few days later, but we all decided we were gonna go down to the museum in Washington, D.C. So it was me, Brittany, her sisters, Sue, and her daughter. And going down there was no issues, but there were people who were passing out stickers to one of the art exhibits in the museum. And, everybody just kind of put it in their pocket, but Brittany decided to be cute and put the sticker on her butt. So then as we're walking at one point in time, I'm kind of just like poking her behind and just saying, hey, excuse me, miss, did you know that there's a sticker on your butt? And, just she playing along, but like, what are you talking about? And just joking around and everything like that. Little did I know somebody had an issue with that, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So, going to the museum, having a pretty good time, and then when we come out of the museum and we're walking back to the subway station, everybody's walking pretty fast, but I noticed that Sue was trailing behind. It was kind of hard for her to keep up with how fast everybody was walking. So I hung back with her and then let people know, like, hey, y'all need to slow down because she's having a hard time keeping up. And then everybody kind of slowed down, but anytime they would pick back up a speed, I would still slow down and walk with her. Well, later on that evening at dinner time, it was funny because we're talking, having conversations, small talk. And when she's asking me questions, I continue to reply with either yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. And then I don't know if it was like after the 5th time I said it, she stopped me and said,
bruh, I just want to let you know that, hey, my name is not ma'am, my name is Sue.
I'm thinking, oh, okay. So, but she kept calling me bruh. So like after the 4th time, being a respectful man I am, I told her, hey, just want to let you know, my name is not bruh, my name is Kevin. I'm like, you know what my name is. You heard it from Brittany and other people many, many times. She said, oh, okay, well, I guess we got that established then that, we got that understanding. I didn't say this out loud. I was like, yeah, you're right. We do have an understanding now. So that was the last encounter I've ever had with her since that point. And they went back to Louisiana. And it was about a week or 2 later where where Brittany called me and she was upset because apparently Sue sent the letter to Brittany, but Brittany didn't bother reading it until Mom brought it to her attention, because Sue called Brittany's mom and was like, hey, you know, I sent Brittany a letter a few weeks ago and I didn't hear a response. And Brittany, when she read the letter, she was pissed. And I won't go into too much detail about the entire letter because honestly I don't remember it, and I think she told me it was like 6 pages. But the outline things that we will never forget that was on there is basically, you know, she needs to take off her rose-colored glasses, that I was brainwashing her, and that she said that she knows that I'm going to be violent and abusive because street recognized street, she can see through me and see the type of man I'm going to be. And you know, it was kind of hurtful. Like I said, Brittany was really pissed, but you could tell some of those things came from conversations that she had with Mom and the sisters. And I say that because when Brittany told both the mom and the middle sister, you know, about what she said, they took Sue's side completely, just in a sense though, and painted the picture like, well, you got to understand where she came from and what she'd been through and so on and so forth. But it was no defense for me whatsoever. But I understand that because at the time, I wasn't in the most positive light, you know, of the family at that time. Here it is, it's looking like I'm taking the baby girl because every time we're spending time together, hanging out together, you know, we're just always together. But it's just because we enjoyed each other's company. And then her always coming over my house when I was living with my dad, she did that by choice because she was annoyed by her family. Like, they were getting on her nerves. It wasn't like they hated each other or anything like that and they were having dysfunction. No, they were just getting on her nerves. So she would rather watch me play Madden or any other PlayStation game I was playing at the time in a smoke-filled house with my dad, who was a chain smoker, instead of being at home with her folks. And I'm just like, hey, I'm not gonna turn her away. I enjoy spending time with her, so this is what she wants to do and want to spend time over here, you know, so be it. It was crazy. So I can understand why Sue had a little bit more ammunition and things to say, but the reason why it was so infuriating because she didn't know me and they didn't know me that way either. And Brittany was more so fighting to protect my character, because that's how we are. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But you're not gonna then try to assume a person's motives or assume a person's bad or destroy their character when you don't even know them like that. We're not gonna let you go that far when you're talking about the other person. That's why this whole situation, I'm getting off tangent, was bittersweet, because it was bitter because it's like, man, y'all were assassinating my character like that. Like, don't get me wrong, and let me put this in context. At the time, we were young. Like I said, she was 20 and I was 20, and here it is, she's a pre-med student and I'm working at a kiosk in the mall. Like I said, this is all in my, you know, why'd I get married so young video. So I can understand what the concern as far as youth and financially, but I mean, my character, you're gonna let somebody say that I'm gonna beat Brittany and you're not gonna speak against that? And that's why it kind of led into, you know, Brittany kind of having a disconnect with her family for a little while. Fortunately, they were able to patch things up, but that's not what made me upset. After that, Brittany was done with Sue, but I wasn't, in a sense. What did it for me is when we celebrated Brianna's first birthday, and that was because Sue sent up a card, but on the envelope it said to Brittany and Brianna, but it had Brittany's maiden name and not her married name, and that pissed me off because it could have easily taken 2 minutes, because this was 2007. The cat was out of the bag by over 3 years that we were married. You could have easily called and asked anybody, hey, what is her married last name, or what is Brianna's last name, so I can put it on the envelope. So if you haven't been able to tell by now, of course I denied her friend request, because even after all this happened, there's been no mention from anybody, because she still calls the family. No one has mentioned anything about an apology or saying, oh, I was wrong, or this is just how I was feeling at the time, but I want to apologize. None of that stuff. Things have changed, you know, over the years. Thankfully, the pastor that we had at the time did tell us, like, you know, hey, you guys have a great relationship and stop trying to fight to prove to everybody else that your relationship is as good as you guys know it is. Just continue to live your lives, love on each other. When you guys have grandbabies, they're just gonna be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, there's my grandbabies. And that's actually what happened. You know, they just kind of like pushed us to the side, you know, after the grandbabies got here. But that was okay. Then after me growing and doing other things, I went from being just, that's Brittany's husband, to this is my son, and that's somebody they can be proud of. And see, what's funny about it, Brittany already saw the potential, but nobody else did. And that's why I said, though, I'm thankful for her, and I'm thankful for her always having my back. But that's a different video for a different time, but I always let her know. So I appreciate anybody who sat through this long video and this me rambling and ranting about this, but it definitely taught me personally to be mindful about when you hear about certain people, and if you have an opportunity to talk to them, talk to them. Don't talk behind people's back like a dog. Like, one of my philosophies is I'll never say anything behind your back that I can't repeat to your face. So, and the last thing I want to just mention before I let you guys completely go is, remember, and I forgot where I saw this, I think I saw it on Instagram, is that be careful what you say, because words will be forgiven but not forgotten. But I'm done, I'm rambling. All right, so as always, be wise, and until I see you guys next time, have a great day.